The envelope felt heavy in my hands, much heavier than paper should. My name was typed neatly on the front, a formal font I didn't recognize. I remember the silence in the house that afternoon, a thick, waiting kind of quiet. As I slid my finger under the flap, I had no idea I was about to tear open the life I knew. My own daughter had sent this, and what was inside was a goodbye I never saw coming. My world, for the longest time, was simple. It was built around my daughter, Anya. After her father passed when she was just 10, it was always the two of us against the world. We didn't have much, but we had a home filled with love. I worked double shifts as a nurse to give her the opportunities one never had. I remember saving up for months to buy her a new dress for a school dance, or staying up late with her, helping with science projects. Her laughter was the music of my life. She was always a bright, ambitious child. Where I was content with a simple, quiet life, she dreamed big. She wanted a career in the city, a beautiful apartment, a life of elegance. I was so proud of her. When she got a scholarship to a prestigious university, it felt like all our sacrifices had paid off. I missed her terribly when she left, but her weekly calls, full of excitement about her classes and new friends, were the highlights of my week. A few years after she graduated, my life changed in a way I never anticipated. An old, distant relative I barely remembered passed away and left me a modest inheritance. It wasn't a fortune, but it was more money than I had ever seen in my life. It was enough to finally pay off the mortgage on our small house and secure my retirement. For the first time in decades, I felt a sense of financial peace. The first person I called was Anya. Her reaction was surprising. "Wow, Mom, that's incredible. This changes everything," she had said, her voice buzzing with an energy I mistook for shared joy. I didn't realize then that she saw my security as her opportunity. That was the first, faint crack in our foundation, though I was too happy to hear it. The first real sign came about 6 months after the inheritance. Anya started visiting more often, her conversations always circling back to money. "You should invest, Mom," she'd say. "Let your money work for you. I have this friend, a financial advisor." I was always hesitant. This money was my safety net. The thought of risking it in stocks and bonds made me nervous. I preferred the quiet certainty of a savings account. One Sunday, over a cup of tea, she laid out a detailed plan. "I found the perfect apartment, Mom. In the city. It's a great investment, and we could own it together." She showed me pictures on her phone, a sleek, modern space with a stunning view. It was beautiful, but the price made my heart stop. "My share of the down payment would just be what you have in the bank," she said, as if she were asking for a cup of sugar. "It's just sitting there anyway." I tried to be gentle. "Anya, sweetheart, that money is for my retirement. This house is my home. I can't risk it all on a property in the city." The warmth drained from her face. "So you don't trust me? You don't believe in my future? After everything I've accomplished?" Her words were sharp, designed to hurt. We argued, a real, painful argument for the first time in years. She left in a fury, and the silence that followed lasted for 2 weeks. I felt a cold dread settle in my stomach. This was more than a disagreement, it was a shift. And then the letter arrived. The letter was from a lawyer. It stated that Anya was making a legal claim against my house. She was arguing that because she had lived there her whole childhood, and because she claimed to have provided emotional and financial support for the property, she was entitled to a share of its value. I read the words over and over, my hands trembling. Emotional and financial support? She was a child. I was her mother. This was my home, the one I'd poured my sweat and soul into for 30 years. I felt a betrayal so profound it was a physical ache. I called her, my voice shaking. "Anya, what is this?" Her tone was cold, clinical. "It's just a legal formality, Mom. I'm protecting my interests. You're being selfish with that money. I deserve that security too." The weeks that followed were a blur of stress and heartbreak. The simple act of making breakfast in my own kitchen felt wrong. Every room held a memory of her. A smudge on the wall from where she'd drawn as a toddler, the notch on the doorframe marking her height each year. Now those same memories felt like evidence in a case against me. I had to hire a lawyer, dipping into the very savings I was trying to protect. The legal letters became a normal, dreaded part of my mail. My quiet life was now filled with legal jargon and anxiety. I stopped answering calls from friends, too ashamed to tell them what was happening. How could I say, "My daughter is suing me for my home"? The loneliness was a heavy blanket, smothering me. I'd sit in the living room at night, in the same chair where I used to read her bedtime stories, and just cry silent tears. The financial strain was one thing, but the emotional cost was bankrupting me. One afternoon, while gathering some old paperwork my lawyer had requested, I found a box of Anya's things in the attic. School reports, old birthday cards, her first pair of ballet shoes. At the bottom of the box, tucked inside a childhood diary, was a folded piece of paper. It was a letter she had written to her father when she was maybe 12 or 13. The childish, looping handwriting made my breath catch. "Dear Daddy," it began. "I miss you. Mom works so hard and she's always tired. I promise I'm going to be so successful one day. I'm going to buy her a big house and she will never have to work again. I'm going to take care of her, just like she takes care of me." I sank to the dusty floorboards, the paper pressed to my chest. The little girl who wrote that letter was gone. The woman she became saw me not as a mother to care for, but as an obstacle to her ambition. This wasn't about security or a shared future. This was about greed. The realization didn't bring anger, but a deep, clarifying sorrow. The power balance had shifted. I was no longer just a hurt mother. I was a person who needed to fight for the home that little girl had loved. I met with my lawyer the next day, a new resolve settling in my bones. "What are my options?" I asked, my voice calm for the first time in months. He laid them out. We could fight the claim, which would be long, expensive, and public. Or we could be strategic. I decided on a different path. A quiet one. I had my lawyer draw up a new set of documents. I wasn't going to shout or beg. I was going to protect myself with the same quiet dignity with which I had raised my daughter. I reached out to a few close, longtime friends. Women who had known Anya since she was a baby. I swallowed my pride and told them the truth. Their support was immediate and fierce. They became my unofficial counsel, my source of strength. I also began to meticulously document everything. I found old bank statements, mortgage papers, even the receipts from the furniture I'd bought with my own salary decades ago. I wrote a statement of my own, not for a court, but for myself, a chronology of my life in that house, of the sacrifices I'd made. It was a painful process, but with every page I wrote, I felt stronger. I was no longer a victim of this family drama. I was the archivist of my own truth. My plan was simple. I would present my case not with emotion but with fact. And I would make one final, definitive offer. We agreed to meet one last time, at my lawyer's office, before taking the matter to court. Anya walked in, dressed in a sharp business suit, her face a mask of cool confidence. I sat quietly, my hands folded in my lap. My lawyer spoke first, laying out the documented history of the house, the inheritance, the lack of any legal basis for her claim. He was polite but firm. Then he slid a single document across the table to Anya. "This is a final offer from your mother," he said. It was a document stating that I would gift her a specific, significant sum of money from my inheritance, enough for a down payment on a small apartment of her own. In return, she would immediately and permanently drop all claims to my house and any of my remaining assets, now and in the future. She read it, her composure beginning to crack. "This is it. This is all you're giving me." I looked at my daughter, my voice soft but steady. "It is more than I was ever given, Anya. And it is everything I am willing to give. This is not a negotiation. It is a choice. You can take this gift and build your own life, or you can walk away with nothing but legal bills and a story you won't want to tell." The room was silent. I saw the calculations going on behind her eyes, the ambition warring with reality. Finally, with a sigh that seemed to deflate her entirely, she picked up the pen. She signed. There was no dramatic scene, no tearful apology, just the soft scratch of pen on paper, finalizing the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. That was 2 years ago. Anya and I speak now, but it is a careful, distant relationship. The trust we had is gone, and I've made peace with the fact that it may never fully return. I used part of the remaining inheritance to take a small trip I'd always dreamed of, and I found a quiet joy in volunteering at a local library. My home is truly my sanctuary again. The emotional story taught me a difficult lesson about love and boundaries. You can love someone with your whole heart, pour your entire life into them, and still have to say no to protect the peace you've earned. Forgiveness, I've learned, is not about condoning what happened. It's about releasing yourself from the weight of it. I forgave her for my own peace, but I also learned to build a fence around that peace. The greatest strength isn't in never being hurt. It's in rebuilding your life with grace after the storm has passed. If this real-life story resonated with you, please share your own thoughts in the comments below. Your support through a like or a subscription helps us bring more calm, reflective stories like this one to you. Thank you for listening.